Stand clear.
100% Wild Podcast.
So for all you listeners,
Hello, and welcome to
definitely not your favorite outdoor podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild Podcast, powered, as always, by DeerCast. And you are Matt Drury.
You're Tim Charlesvick, and we are like inching closer and closer to the Missouri deer season. Of course, some of those seasons out west and the early velvet seasons are popping. And it's that time of year, Tim.
You know what I can do right now?
What?
I can go to my DeerCast 14-day forecast.
And see opening day.
I can see deer season.
Yeah, it's funny. This morning, so I'm supposed to have I have a early season muzzleloader tag in Kansas. And it was just 2-3 days ago, the extended forecast in DeerCast wasn't great. It was like 100 degrees, 90 degrees, 95. It was just terrible. Mm-hmm. And so we were, I was talking to the landowner that I'm hunting with, and he's like, yeah, let's postpone it. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Makes sense. Well, now I looked at it this morning just because I know, with that hurricane down in Florida, you just never know what can kind of pop up because we're getting some of that with thunderstorms and
we got some last night.
Yeah, rain events coming through the Midwest. So I looked again, and sure enough, Saturday it's 92, Sunday 79. Season for me opens on Monday.
Okay.
So I believe I need to double check that, and it's 71 on Monday.
I can live with that.
So I texted him this morning. I'm like, should I come out? So he said all of his deer disappeared, when they went hard-horned or when they were dropping their velvet.
Yeah.
And so he's not. I haven't heard back yet today, but he was not hopeful for this early season this year because of the heat and all that stuff.
Sure.
So I'm thinking with these changing temperatures, got to get out there.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's had deer disappear. Because I put my cameras out. It's probably been 3 weeks or so ago now, and I had some pretty good bucks showing up, and for the past week, maybe week and a half, they gone.
Yeah, it happens every year, and I've heard Mark and Terry talk about it. It's happened to Scott and I every year. This period sucks. And, a lot of where our cameras are, a lot of food sources and things like that. And it's not necessarily that we have a bunch tucked back in the timber. And it's kind of like they disappear, into the timber when they're shedding their velvet. But I don't really have a ton of cameras in those areas. So you just kind of figure, maybe they're out doing their thing, whatever it is they're doing.
Hiding from cameras, that's what they're doing.
But I do have, Scott and I went to the farm last week, and we put out, I think I might have talked about it here on the podcast. We Tom Ware and I think Eric Boothin used this trick, getting these posts from like Home Depot or Lowe's, Farm and Home, wherever, and put them in the ground for scrape trees and attaching a limb, or like Ingy attaches a
flagpole holder.
Yeah, well, that's what we did. But a hemp rope,
sure.
Trying to get them to come over to the scrape tree. So we put out 10 total. I think we put out 7 that day, or those 2 days. And, I still haven't really seen anything hitting them. And, of course, I see everybody talking about, this time of year they're starting to hit scrapes and, put some, forehead gland on the limbs, and I tried all that. I'm still not seeing anything. Does and stuff will walk up to it and sniff on it, but that's it. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or maybe it's too premature.
Flailing our way into deer season 23.
I thought this is it. We're doing all the right things.
The gold
this time.
standard.
I mean, they look great. The positioning's great. We set them up perfect for our blinds and all that. And so far on the camera is just not really getting results that I'm looking for. So I'm hoping that I'm not seeing much for bucks at all right now. You'll get a glimpse of them here and there going to the food source still, like beans or whatever, but not a ton of good quality photos at the moment.
If I was a professional doe hunter, I'd be in the chips.
Oh yeah,
I get no shortage of doe pictures.
Same.
It's unreal. I do have I've never really had a shooter wacky rack buck on any of my properties before, but I do now. And he's really weird. He's tall, but he's got tall and narrow, but also got quite a bit of mass at his bases. And I think he's got 5 on each side. So he's at least a 10-pointer. Kind of an interesting deer.
That's cool.
I like width. I like you know, like a mat, like when
Like a wide?
I do. When they're walking, you can just tell like they've got a lope to them, and this guy does not have it, but it's just a really unique rack on him.
Yeah. So I got breaking news right now. Just received a text from my landowner. So I sent this morning at 7:30. Looking at the forecast, it looks like opening day and the few days after should be great weather-wise. Checked it out in DeerCast. What are you thinking? And I sent him a screenshot of DeerCast. Yep, I was looking last night. The same thing. Some of the bucks started showing back up on Cam Hardhorn. So
Okay.
then pack your bags, brother.
Going to Kansas.
I say that, but I have to get approval from my wife first.
Of course. I mean, adult supervision means adult supervision.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that's the plan. Nobody tell her yet. I'm gonna break that to her.
Hey, so, honey, what does the weekend look like for us? And
Oh, I already know. We have a gala to go to on Saturday night for Brace for Impact. That's
Yeah.
Kyle McClellan's big charity event. So we had him on the podcast a while back, and
he's a baseball man.
Yeah, he was a Major League Baseball player. He's a pitcher, retired now, but he has this nonprofit charity called Brace for Impact, and they help local community here in St. Louis and North St. Louis, but they also help raise funds for a community, an orphanage over in Haiti. And I actually had a chance to go over there with Justin Lurk and a bunch of other people and see it firsthand, and it's really pretty awesome. So anyways, the big event, the big fundraising event is at the Four Seasons here in St. Louis on Saturday. So it's been on the calendar for months, and I knew, I thought, what are the chances of right out of the gate opening day being
having good conditions.
and here we are.
So pretty good.
So that's Saturday, and then Sunday I would have to drive, 10 hours, 8 hours out to Kansas. So
Shoo.
See you guys.
It's gonna be a busy weekend. How long do you think you'd stay out there? Like, if you don't kill.
Last year, Scott, or 2 years ago, was it like 3 or 4 days? 4 days. Yeah. So
that's a good haul.
Yeah, so we went out and we stuck it out for a few days, but it was about like this. The weather conditions were pretty good. So we, on first night, spotted the deer we were after, and we kept seeing them kind of go to this gate or this fence row on the neighboring property. And after sitting in the blind we were in for a few nights and kind of seeing the same movement, we popped up a ground blind over in that fence row. We kind of ambushed them before they crossed over, and worked out perfectly. And so landowner said they're still crossing in the same spot. I sent out 2 ground blinds ahead this time, so they've been out and ready. And so I mean, I'm excited. He sent me a ton of pictures of great deer. So
nice.
But of course, like true Matt Drury fashion, I'm not prepared. I haven't shot my muzzleloader yet, so I came in with the muzzleloader this morning. I'm like, hey Scott, got any plans?
Do a guy a favor here.
Which he's busier than I am, so it looks like I'm gonna have to try to just skip a bunch of meetings on Friday and just bite the bullet. Figuratively.
It never fails this time of year. Like, no matter how good your planning is, there's always last minute stuff. Like I have 4 Muddy VS360 ground blinds that I have intended to set out for my kids to hunt out of. But without having a whole lot of great intel on the trail cameras yet, I have been remiss to
put them out
and, risk wasp building nests in them and just all the stuff that happens with that. Yeah. So they're still sitting in the garage in their bags waiting to go.
I know the feeling. I'm staring at 5 sets of Muddy Boss XL stands and 5 sets of sticks, and we've been running very hard trying to get prepared for this season, but we do have an extra piece this year, or 2 extra pieces this year compared to last year, because I bought the farm, the 93-acre farm, and then we found a lease right near there.
Yeah.
So the 93-acre farm is pretty close to being set up. Like it's looking pretty good and pretty ready. But the lease has nothing on it yet except a couple cameras. And of course, some of the best deer were over there. But we haven't had a chance to, and it's not for lack of trying. Like it's everything Scott can do and I can do. And, we've had a few people help us. It's just you run out of time, and it's, despite what people think, that's not our main job. Our main job's here in the office. And as you know, you've been busier than normal as well. We had some new roles that all of us kind of picked up. And so it's been pretty crazy leading into the season.
Yeah. I've been trying to, in the evenings on my way home, maybe stop off at one of my properties and move a camera, drop a camera, figure out. This week I have a stand. So there's a 40-acre piece in West County, St. Louis that I used to hunt, but my buddy, being the nice guy that he is, let another guy hunt it, and he started kind of cutting some corners, wildlife code wise.
Oh.
And I didn't want to be around or near any of that, and so I just backed off. And this guy eventually burnt the bridge with my friend, and my buddy for probably 5 or 6 years said, "No one's hunting this ground. I'm tired of the drama that came with it." But then this past turkey season, he said, "You know what, Tim? You're welcome to come back out."
You seem like a stand-up guy. You can come back out, Tim.
Or maybe he just wanted some extra security on the property.
Yeah.
I don't know, but so I'm back out there this year, and it's actually so I dropped a cell cam out there, and right off the bat, I got pictures of a 12-pointer that I think I found his left side this past spring. And he's a shooter. Like he's easily 5 years old.
Oh, nice.
So I'm excited about chasing him. But again, he's MIA right now. I'm not too concerned about, like, I'll see him. Like there's some good travel corridors out there. I think I'll see him at some point. But just this time right now of not knowing exactly where they are and still having stands that I want to set out. Like I want these assets to be dialed into where I think they're going to be. And some of this is going to rely on just historical knowledge and knowing where they tend to go during the fall.
That's basically what we've done at like Marthasville and Ellsbury, the two existing leases that we had. It was nice, our Ellsbury lease, which doesn't really have any shooters on it right now, but the rut, you never know what can show up. It's got tons of deer on it, just not any shooters. And so we kind of got our 3 food plots, and we got our couple stands in the timber. Like all that's good to go and set. So there's not a lot of work to do there, luckily. And Scott went and frost seeded it, our big staging plot area in the late winter, early spring, and it looked great. Like clover, the non-typical clover from Biologic. Like it was. We got up there, we're like, thank goodness, one less food plot to, because we actually frost seeded all of our food plots in the winter, thinking, hey, the way the droughts been happening, like we're not going to get rain. Let's try not to have to plant food plots if we don't have to. It worked for a couple of our spots, but for whatever reason, in a couple other spots, it didn't take on. So the spots that it did, it was like, whew, what a relief. We don't have to replant here.
Sure.
And so Ellsbury was one of them. The good part about that is we don't have any equipment up there. So like that would be a much, an added step to try to figure out all that as well. So boom, that one's pretty much taken care of and ready. And then like Marthasville, we pretty much had all of our, from observed movement the last couple of years. We know where they're going. We know where they're at. It was more of a matter of, hey, seeing them in daylight. They were just very nocturnal out there. Well, that's kind of turned a corner a little bit for us as well. Some changes in the property and the neighboring property. So this year, one of the corners that it's always been in beans that we've never been able to hunt because it's kind of near this access road that people had an easement on, it kind of screwed it up. Well, that's not exactly the case anymore. So we were able to do a little food plot architecture with it, like Mark does, like Terry does. And we went in just recently here, brush hogged a strip of beans when we knew rain was coming. Yeah. And then and here again, we didn't have any equipment outside of Doug, the landowner, has a skid steer out there on the front of the property. He's a construction guy. So he took the bucket and he just kind of took the teeth on. This was Scott's idea. And he just took the teeth and kind of disked it up a little bit. Yeah. And Scott broadcast. We had to go back in and do some oats just to get some green food source in there because this was just yesterday that they did it. So the 5th, September 5th. So we felt like we were too late to do the type of, radishes or brassica or any of that kind of stuff. But oats, hey, you're still good to go. So he frost seeded that, and then he drug it with a pallet, and away we go. So we got rain last night. We got a few chances coming up. So we feel like this walking strip goes 20 yards right in front of our blind. It kind of goes out of where the deer are coming out of the timber, and it kind of puts them right in front of the blind. And then, of course, we put another scrape tree out there So we got beans, and then we got this walking strip. And at Mark's, I mean, that's the deer I shot last year. That's how he had it, and he had this walking strip right in front of the blind. And of course, Dad's done that because he saw Mark doing it, and he kind of thought, "Yeah, let's give it a shot." And he tried it. I think he killed that double stickers last year with a similar idea. So we'll see. I mean, we need that growth to kind of happen here in the next few days, next week. But I'm hoping that we're trying way more than we've ever tried to get aggressive and see something early.
It's a good way of describing it. I feel like I have more stands out and more cameras out this year at this time of year than I ever have, and it's like, if it's a crappy season, it's not going to be for lack of effort. Like I'm going all in. I'm doing everything I know how.
Well, it wasn't last year either, but as you ran into as well, sometimes you just don't catch the breaks, or if you don't see the deer, if you don't have the deer, what are you going to do? So, I don't know. We're excited though. We got a couple good bucks between all the properties. There are, there's options, nothing like a no showstopper giants, but for us, big deer, 140, 150 inch, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. We got a lot of mature bucks because we, as Mark put it before, management by default, so we can't kill them. So if we don't kill this year, I don't know, man. I'm hanging it up.
You and I both talked about the relativity of this season, because this season is kind of built on last season, and neither of us killed the bucks that we wanted to last year. So my bar is a little less high this year.
Definitely going into it with a vibe of, if it's a mature buck, for me, that my standard is, if it's a mature buck, Scott or I are sending an arrow through this deer. He's been shooting his vertical bow, and of course I've been shooting mine and trying to get ready, and we're going to both pack them every time if we're in a blind and try to knock one down.
The other thing that's different for me this year is I have a 350 Legend.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about, so we got that CWD season coming up here in Missouri. It's in October.
The doe.
Yeah. So I'm excited to go through and put the hammer down on a lot of does, because I'll drive through this, one of my main properties that I hunt, and it's not uncommon to see 30 plus does out walking around.
So in that doe season, can you purchase more than 2 tags per county in Missouri?
I'm not sure. Like in the CWD area, I would assume that you can purchase a buttload,
because it's not just a CWD thing. It's an antlerless season in October, right? So, and no matter what county. So we need to look into those regulations and see, because typically you can only get, it's like 2 tags per county for antlerless for a gun, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I definitely want to kill as many does, and that's like, I'm going to use my crossbow to try to kill as many does as I can, because it's just unreal. And the local municipality did some kind of study, and they found there was just a stupid high number of deer per square mile.
Sure.
Where I'm at. It's just, the problem is they're not mature bucks, and there's so much social pressure. And like even the browse line, if you look at the forest edge, you can see about 4.5 foot up. It's just a clear line of where they can reach and where they can't reach.
Yeah.
Not healthy. So.
Yeah, we talked about that this year as well. Like, just, we always, because we don't hunt a ton, we try to hunt the fronts. We try to hunt when DeerCast is good or great.
Yeah.
We typically don't go in there looking to shoot does. Not only that, but we really don't have anywhere, we if we shoot one, we're gonna have to process it ourselves, especially in the early season, right out of the, right away. There's not really any convenient lockers or coolers to go to. So it definitely persuades me not to shoot. And so we talked about this year. It's like, screw it. We gotta just knock the cobwebs off and shoot a couple does. We need to do it anyways. So we got a couple honey holes where we feel like we've seen a lot of does coming through that would give us a good opportunity.
Sure.
So I got, of course, I just yesterday got a new bow. So I gotta sight that in, and that's always interesting.
Yes.
To learn how to reshoot right before the season. 10 days before the season
the exact
starts.
wrong time of year to be doing that.
Also, I'll be leaving, to go to Kansas, so I'm kind of that process scares me every year. So.
Yep. Yeah, it would me too. So I have something that is entirely my fault. sometimes you try to eke a little too much out of your equipment, and I tried to eke more than 4 years out of my bowstring, and pretty much, and it snapped on me this weekend.
Sucks.
I was out in the backyard. I finally, like you and I both been talking about how we're just trying to find time to carve out to shoot in our backyards, and I finally had a brief hour or so. So I got the bow out. I'm still shooting the VXR. Like I love that
great
bow.
bow.
It shoots great. And the neighbor guy was like coming by on his 4-wheeler. He just dropped off something down at the creek, and he was on his way back, and he was starting to talk to me. This guy's got nothing but time, and he can talk forever. And he was like, I want to see you shoot a little bit. So
Sure, man. Watch this.
This is how a professional does it, son. So I come to full draw, and I'm, everything's looking good. The peeps line, whenever I shoot, I try to line up my peep with the housing on my HHA sight. Like that's one of my landmarks. And so that was looking good. Hovering on I've got one of the Morel, the big yellow block targets out in the backyard, and I was executing the shot, and it felt like, the release felt good and everything, but the bow made a weird sound. Suddenly my wrist is burning. The arrow falls into the grass in front of me, and there's like string laying all over my forearm.
Ouch.
And it takes you a second to realize just what happened. But
What'd the neighbor say?
The boaster, he was like, "What happened, Timmy?"
Is this how it's done?
And I was like a mixture of pissed and checking for
Blood
or like a carbon arrow run through my forearm or something. Thankfully, I was fine.
Like Superman.
Just pretty much. I have no kryptonite. But it just like I hunt out of tree stands or saddles. Like, that's all I do. That's a lot of up and down, a lot of walking the bow through the woods, brambles, like nasty stuff. And the string was over 4 years old. So I was going to take the bow into the shop to have Mike up here at Mike's Archery take a look at the D-loop just to make sure it was good. So I texted him on Sunday, and I texted him a picture, and he was like, I'll see you Tuesday morning.
That D-loop's going to need some work.
Right. I got my D-loop taken care of, and the peep sight went flying. I don't know where that went to. Huh. The neighbor said he heard something hit the house.
Oh, boy.
But it's one of those things where you're just glad. I mean, it could have come back at me in the eyeball or
anything. Yeah. So this timing is brutal. That's basically when it happened 12 days before season.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to have to shoot it. It was shooting good at Mike's shop, but then there's probably going to be a little string stretch, so I'll probably have to have another twist put in the string again, because I imagine that peep's going to want to rotate on me. So as if I didn't have enough going on right here before the start of deer season.
And uncharacteristically, it's not going to be 100 degrees on September 15th. Like, it looks like pretty decent weather here in the St. Louis area.
My DeerCast is rated okay right now for the areas that I hunt.
I really think that hurricane, I was texting Mark the other day, and I said something like, man, I really hope that hurricane pushes some rains up, because we need it. They're all watering, Mark's crew, Terry's crew, but of course we're not, we don't have the time or resource to do that, so we're not watering. And I was like, I really need that rain. He's like, yeah, he's already finding dead. He's found, I think,
EHD.
3 EHD bucks so far, and he's like, yeah, it's we need it bad. And he's like, it's terrible. We're hoping for a hurricane to push rain up for our deer, and it's like, yeah, that's okay. You had to put it that way. I didn't really think about the people of Florida.
We're dying up here.
Yeah. So I felt bad about Florida, but I do need some rain, as does everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. It's an inconvenience for us. It's life or death for some people.
So, but anyways, I was thinking that's going to also change the weather, the forecast, the temperatures, and the highs. And so it kind of has. So I'm hoping it continues to bring things down to earth here.
Yeah, and sometimes people look at DeerCast and they're like, oh, they're pissed because their forecast is changing on them. Well, that's just because the
DeerCast prediction is changing.
Yeah, the atmosphere is changing, and so it's reflecting the reality of what's coming.
Yeah.
So, hey, we've got a real wild clip this week.
Hey.
From the if you are a hot dog, would you eat yourself?
I know I would.
The Tucson homegirl. So Kimberly Leister is
You and your home girls.
a real estate agent. I imagine she's a realtor in the Tucson area, and she was doing a home visit on a property that she was listing that no one was currently living in. She came across something a little bit strange.
Ooh-wee. All right, so let's get into this. Oh, hello, Tucson homegirl.
You're hot.
Thanks, Barb. So, oh my goodness. She's got 1, 2, 3. What are we looking at?
Bunch
Tim?
of bobcats laying on the
3.
back porch sleeping.
Oh, there's a
On
fourth
the
one.
stairs and on like a little podium
I
thing.
didn't realize Tucson had so many bobcats.
They've at least got 6. Hi. He's just looking through the window.
If you were, as the realtor, how do you add that to your listing?
A bobcat friendly house? I don't know.
And is that something you want?
Yeah, no, that's I think it's like in some states you have to declare if you think your home is haunted.
Yeah, that's crazy. And they aren't even scared by her. She's the ones looking at her.
They are in dreamland. They are just completely cuddled up.
This one is like, hey, wait a second.
Oh, hey.
There's a
Hi.
human. Obviously
biggie.
not scared of humans.
Which is probably not a great sign.
No.
And who knows if the former owner put out cat food for him or
Feeding them.
something. And,
Yeah.
but they're comfy cozy on those stairs.
Yeah. Very comfortable there.
Huh.
That's crazy. That's a real wild clip, Tim.
Thanks, Kimberly, for sharing that with us.
Thanks,
Appreciate
homegirl.
it. The Tucson homegirl.
I like that.
Man, if I was a real estate agent, I'd be a homeboy. But I'm not.
I don't think so, Jim.
Okay, so we got a question of the day from one of our Rackpackers.
All right, so the question of the day is proudly presented by Victory Archery, the carbon arrow experts. I actually just got a dozen new VAPs. I need to go.
Ooh.
And I sent them down to the guys at TAC. They fletched them for me.
Yeah?
Got it all set up.
Heck yeah.
Got them ready for that new bow I got to sight in. I got all kinds of new stuff, a new HHA sight.
You're going to walk into bow season with price tags and stuff,
Yeah.
like mini pearl hanging off your
I
rig.
like that guy that just decided to pick up hunting. He's like, hey, look
Yes.
at me with all my new stuff.
Pants with the creases in them from the store
I did
still.
just get some new stuff from St. Locke.
Hey, all right. Got that new apparel smell to
I
them.
always look new because I never kill anything.
You don't want to get muddy,
Nothing's ever bloody.
dirty, bloody.
It's like, yeah, I just keep using the scent crusher toad all fall. It's like, well, you don't need to wash it. You don't
That's right.
kill anything. I'm
No
embarrassed.
blood.
All right, so who we got this week in the question of the day?
It's Bradley Walker.
So he's saying Wade. Is this a question? Wade is you. Okay, Tim picked this. Wade is freaking jacked now. Should his nickname be Dozer or Rambo?
So
So is this legitimately the question we have today, Tim?
This was in response to a deer season 23 that we ran, maybe
a couple
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wade was wearing a muscle shirt, and it was revealing. And so the guys reacted in the Rackpack to how much flesh was being shown
Oh,
on old
I
Wader.
must have missed it. Well,
So Dozer or Rambo?
he's into fitness. Wade's into fitness. He's using that first form. He's getting his fitness on.
And he's shooting a
How comes
bow.
he looks bigger than you, Tim? Because you lift weights a lot.
How comes that?
How come?
I don't know. Maybe I just don't try hard enough.
Ah.
Maybe it's because I got 20 years on him. Who knows?
It could be that. 10 years at
10
least.
years. Yeah, how old is Wade?
He's in his 30s, I think, or late 20s, maybe.
it
Late
young?
20s.
Okay.
Yeah. He just killed a hell of a mule deer up in Alberta.
Can't wait to see it.
182 and some change, I
Hmm.
think. And then Todd Bigby was up there with Wade this year on the trip to Corey Jarvis's Three River Adventures, and Todd killed a big bid, probably mid 80s.
Dang.
Big old muley.
So those ought to be in DeerCast by the time people are listening to this.
Yeah, Wade's is. It's not up yet, is it? Yeah. So I think their last day was maybe yesterday. So
Okay.
I'm sure. Yeah, it'll be any day here.
That whole process of mule deer hunting up there in those canola fields is so interesting to me. You're so exposed. You rely on the wind. You're taking 50, 60, 70-yard shots.
Well, and you might be moving in. You might need to move 100 yards, and that might take you 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you're no shoes on, you're in socks, and you're just crawling your way closer and closer.
Muscle shirts.
Using the wind to go, wind in your face. The wind check's helpful in that scenario. But you're just it's a slow process. I filmed Mark out there. One of the first years he went out there, I filmed him, and maybe the first 2 years. And it's an interesting style of hunting. But those guys, to get that shot, it's 50 yards is a close shot a lot of times. It's 50 to 70. And they have a rule, Mark and Corey and Wade and those guys, it's kind of like they don't go past 40 yards or try not to. And anytime they've stalked in closer than 40, usually is when the stock gets blown, And something, even with the wind in your face, something happens because you have no cover, zero cover. So, they made it happen. They always do. Corey's one of the best.
He's got to be. And like sometimes they're just sitting there waiting. Like they get into range, but they got to wait for the deer to stand up.
4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it takes.
With nothing around, just the beating sun and the wind on you.
So, anyways, look forward to seeing those in DeerCast.
Yeah. Hey, the wildlife word. Hey!
Hold on. Hold it. Tim, hold on. Man, I can't find the sound.
So I grew up in Chicagoland, and so Harry Carey was just a staple around our house. But then there was another guy, Jim Short's Cavalcade of Sports. You ever heard about this?
No.
I think this is a Chicagoland thing. Rackpackers can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was on Channel 9, like the Superstation Channel 9. But it was some weird sports show, like recapping stuff, but it would be a mixture of like old boxing from the 20s and then modern racing, and this guy just reacting to him. But it was during the 90s. It felt like a cable access, like a Wayne and Garth kind of show.
I'm digging it. And
Jim
I'm
Shorts.
a big boy.
Yeah. Okay, the wildlife word, it's made possible by PH Outdoors. Whether you're planting fall food plots, doing habitat management, or even regenerative farming, the G Series of no-till drills has you covered. Pick any with G Series between 3 and 10 feet wide.
I feel bad because I texted him yesterday morning, Paul Hollis. We had him on a couple episodes ago.
It was his birthday here.
Yeah, this past weekend.
Yeah.
So he was in New Orleans, I guess, for his birthday and over the holiday weekend. I didn't know that, of course. So I texted him and I said, hey, what are you doing later today? Can you bring out a drill?
I'm in Nolens, son.
I need help. So I was trying to get him to bring out one of those new drills, the G Series drills, to Marthasville to help us plant. He's not in town, so we used that the teeth on that bucket of the skid steer.
Do what you can.
Did what we could.
If I know Paul, though, he was probably thinking, like, how could I try to make something happen?
Oh, yeah. He's like, hey, I'll be Thursday, Friday. I'll be able to help. Which, do we need help on Thursday in Marthasville, Scott?
Let's ask the studio audience. Paul is just a great guy. Like, very selfless.
I'll see him Saturday at that gala.
The gala.
Yeah, he's a hit PH Outdoors. He's always a big sponsor for all Kyle stuff.
Heck yeah. Okay, the genus and species name for white-tailed deer is...
Do you mean genius?
No.
Do you mean Genesis?
Yes. No,
Genus.
PlayStation.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's all right. I love the
Genus.
Uh-oh.
Genus.
Cell cam just went off. Do I dare look at it?
No.
It's probably a doe.
It's a doe.
It's a doe or a coyote.
I had to turn my notifications off because we got about 15 cameras out, and it's annoying. Like, once we get rolling in the season, I'll turn them back on, but too many notifications to see a doe.
Annoying and addictive at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are your choices. The genus and species name for white-tailed deer is A, Aeroduckinus, B, Meleagris gallopavo, C, Odocoleus virginianus, or D, tough to kill for most of us.
I'm going to go with C because I feel like Virginianus, or whatever you said, was part of a wildlife word. Don't look at me like that, Alan. Was part of the wildlife word a couple weeks ago that had something to do with the whitetail origin.
You retained knowledge
Partial.
from episode to episode.
Partial
This is
knowledge.
great.
Only reason I remember is because you had something to do with the origin, and it's something to do with the state of Virginia.
Wow.
And I thought,
Look at
what
you.
the hell? No way could the deer be in a state of Virginia, which is only maybe a couple hundred years old at the max. And anyway, so that's how my mind works.
The beautiful mind. All the
What do they
numbers
call
coming
that
down.
kind of learning? Deductive.
Impaired.
Well, that too.
Yes, deductive reasoning.
That's it.
Okay, so yes, C. Odocoleus virginianus. That's a white-tailed deer.
Yeah. So
Nice job.
How's that tie into the origin of the species?
Well, so we broke it down last episode, I think, and it means hollow-toothed deer of Virginia. Had to
Yeah.
do with the just the shape of the teeth.
So I guess what I'm trying to tell you, what I'm asking is, what is the difference between that name and this name? What's genus, Genus mean?
So the way that all animals are classified is called binomial nomenclature. It means two names. It's a classification.
I get that. I
So-
knew that.
Homo sapien.
Got it. 2 names. I knew all this, guys. But okay, never mind.
Okay. Maybe we'll visit afterwards about it.
I think the people want to know.
Okay.
I can't be the dumbest guy listening to this podcast.
People want to know how animals are named. How do
Well,
they do it?
Hey.
$200.
We'll do a whole thing on scientific classification next time.
Well, way to lose the audience before we ever have that.
Right here during deer
He's
season.
kidding, guys.
It won't happen.
All right.
All right, we got a shout out from EJ Susan 02 on Apple Podcast, and EJ says, "Good stuff. Thanks."
Listen, Tim, I've seen the shout outs. There's some better ones than this. You could have gave us a better one to go off of.
So what I have been doing is I've been saving some of the Rackpack member questionnaires that they're answering, and I'll be using some of those because some of the we really appreciate when folks leave us a
We've had
review.
some good Apple ones lately. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Look, we need a couple things from the audience. We need you to subscribe. That helps us. We need you to share it with your friends. That helps us. And then we need you to leave a review if you can. Those 3 things help us tremendously.
Question of the day, if you're feeling curious.
Little Randy.
Well, I don't know about that. We can only do so much.
All right.
Most of our listeners are dudes.
Okay.
All right.
We're down to the end here, Tim, and audience. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to welcome some new Rackpack members. Rackpack is a private Facebook group tied to this here program over in Facebook.
Yeah, that's
the main
right.
Facebook group. And every week I read some names that Tim, supplies for me. Every week there's a fake name in there that I have to
right.
decipher. Deductive reason.
Who could it be this week?
All right.
Deduce.
I'm about to deduce my way through this. Robert Swafford, Luke Ristow, Adam Cooper, Bradley Walker, Connor Yankee, but only 1 E. Strange. Jared Fitzgerald, Trip Gurp Punch. Trig. I read that wrong.
What's up, Trip?
Trig Gurp Punch. Trigger Punch. Fake name.
Got him.
Found it. Hold it.
Got him.
Eventually.
Okay. Kyle McLaughlin.
I never know when people have a last name like that.
I'm going with McLaughlin, but it's GH.
What's
Stetson Neldon. Real
that's
cowboy.
a cool name. Like
Real
that.
cowboy amongst
Man.
the group.
Episode-
How many members we got? We got over 2,000. now.
Over 2,000 now. Yeah. Not sure the exact count, but it's growing. Like every day, there are more people hopping in there.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
For some reason, I had a lizard on my hat over the weekend. My podcast hat fell off my truck as I was driving around on the bourbon farm.
And you had a lizard in your truck.
And I went, I picked up I found the hat on the side of the little road where I was driving when I came back through, and there was an eastern fence lizard on it, and
Only you would know that name.
he wouldn't get off. So I took some pictures and video and put it on the Rackpack.
What's his genus name?
I don't know.
Sounds so stupid.
Surely it's supposed to be genius. Genius and species.
Species. All right.
We're redefining science.
Hey, this time next week, I might be in Kansas. Ben might be with me.
Might have got your hands bloody.
Scott screwed up and got married this time last year to Iceland. So he's celebrating his wedding anniversary. But guess what? He's free for the rest of the season.
I'm doing the same thing tomorrow. The 7th is our wedding anniversary.
How many years?
21 years.
Are you shitting me?
For reals.
How old are you?
I'm 63. 63 years young.
That is incredible, Tim.
Yeah.
So what did you get? Straight out of high school?
No,
knocked her up. Get.
That's right. Yep. No, we were pretty.
Oh, that's what Terry did.
I was out of college a year, and she was right out of college. So we got started young. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially by today's standards.
Yeah. I really I lived life through my 20s.
Playing a lot of Halo.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
not a video gamer. I actually like to live a real life.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to look back at this time period and be like, oh, we wasted time on Twitch. And...
I mean, I feel that way about my 20s, and I was doing stuff. Just blowing a lot of time in a bar somewhere. But hey.
If only we could get it back.
Enjoy it. Actually, I don't want it back. I mean, it's pretty fun times. Regret a few things along the way.
Sure.
But hey, anyhow.
Well, let's not regret this deer season.
Hey, I already do.
We're going to go out guns blazing here.
I was at Dad's over the weekend, Mom and Dad's. The family got together for the holidays, and I was like, I'm already dreading this fall. I'm like, I'm so behind. I just got my new boat. Like, I am so far behind. It's not even funny. And if Scott wouldn't help me, I would really be behind.
Ooh. Yeah.
So,
well, we'll do the best we can.
That's
we always do.
Hey, that's might as well be on my tombstone. Did the best I could.
He tried real hard. God's patting you on the head.
Yeah. I don't think what people realize is just how busy the office part of the job is and what it requires for all of us.
Yeah, it's very little portion of that is hunting.
All right. Well, on that uplifting note, let's put a fork in it.
Let's do it.
All right.
See you guys next time.
Until next time, peace out.
DeerCast is now supercharged with maps. Get ahead of your game with killer new features like live Doppler radar, wind check out to 5 days, virtual rain gauges, GPS path tracking, and more. Plus, get our 14-day revolutionary DeerCast prediction and access to DeerCast Track. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast. Prep, predict, and pursue your target buck.